They fired Robin Cass from casting. And I had said about that firing that it was like putting a band-aid on a gunshot wound. But honestly, it was like treating someone for a scratch on their face when they have a gunshot wound somewhere else on the body. Because it's two totally different things. What they did by firing Robin Cass was very small problem because the problem starts at the top. And CBS is a part of that problem, especially since they enable the two producers of this shitty little show. And Grodner gets a lot of shit, and she deserves every last bit of the shit she gets. But we do not give enough hate to Rich the Bitch Meehan. He is equally as much of a dumbass as she is, and she gets all the flack, and it's probably a misogynist thing that she gets all the flack. But Rich deserves all of the hate as well. They only know how to edit white stories. But the editing on BBUS is what causes these ripple effects throughout Big Brother games, because they constantly only know how to edit white people. Even the problematic white people of the past, we've seen them constantly try and shine them in a bright light. Grodner and Meehan are racist. I don't care what anybody says. You can go and see they've made no changes to production. The POC and especially black players on this show have not been in a safe environment, in my opinion. It's a mentally exhausting environment for black players and for black viewers. They placate to their dumbass white viewers constantly, who are always on Facebook saying shitty little things and dumbass little things, almost as dumb as Grodner and Meehan, but it's hard to be that dumb. So you mix all of this shit together in a can and be surprised that you get shit.
I want to start this saying that with the first video I've showed you here, I try not to get on here and preach. Hopefully I don't come off that way. But I try to get on here and drop some knowledge, drop some facts. And sometimes it might take a few weeks of gameplay to happen for me to be proven right. Or sometimes I might not even trust my gut and my initial thoughts on the cast. And then a few weeks later, I'm proven right. And just like this video, it might have taken 14 months, but I'm proven right again, as Grodner and Meehan show themselves to be the terrible producers that they are with this show, and this show constantly trying to basically profit off of racism. It's been the trend with this show for so long now, and it is a social experiment, and as I've said in the past, I don't think racism should be used as gameplay. But if you're going to, allow it in the game, then you should show it on the episodes, because now they have to play catch up and scramble of how to show Kyle for who he is, because they tried to actually make him the golden boy face of the season at first. And now, look at how this week has gone. And I would not be surprised if the edits for the episodes this week still are terrible and still try to underplay everything. But let me try and recap some of these mess of the feeds that's been going on. I'm going to start with the game and, Turner's HOH week being an absolute shit show. First of all, this week is proving just how bad Turner is at the game, creating too many deals with people he can't keep. And it really just goes back to trusting Kyle way too much, which after last week, I know the feeds were down for a couple of days, but I still don't understand how or why Turner would be trusting Kyle, because Kyle, he talked about his possible all-white alliance very hardcore with Michael and Brittany. And he brought up to Alyssa who they should work with, that being Brittany, Michael, Turner. But with Turner, he never really was straight up about it in any real way. With Turner, he would always talk about how maybe they shouldn't trust the Pound, maybe Monty and Joseph aren't trustworthy, maybe they need to look elsewhere. He never really was straight up with Turner with those conversations. However, in those conversations with Turner, you would think Turner would have realized that Kyle is the one trying to turn on the pound. So for Joseph to get all of the blame last week, and then for Turner to try and keep the pound together this week with Kyle and Monty, I'm not seeing how this makes any sort of sense in his mind. So, strike it up as more terrible gameplay. And for anyone, it's been brought up in my comments by Insulin Dependent Skank with a great name, that Big Brother Reddit, which is no surprise to me, likes to still try and say this season is having good gameplay. That echo chamber of horrors. Once again, proving that the gameplay this season is so bad. Kyle, in so many conversations this season, brings up so many names to people, but never brings up his own. And in a conversation with Turner yesterday, he was bringing up, after Michael won the veto, which of course he did, which we all kind of expected, Kyle said, it looks like Turner's going to have to nominate somebody in this new after-party alliance thing, and he brought up Terrence's name, brought up Monty's name, brought up even Alyssa's name, but never brought up his own name. And if this was just truly great gameplay, people would be clocking these things left and right, but they never do. So Michael and Brittany finally, after weeks and weeks and weeks, decided to bring up the fact that Kyle was using this racist strategy, and that he was trying to group all of the minorities together, even Indy, who's just a white Brazilian, as working together and trying to start that all-white alliance shit. They brought it up to Turner and Taylor. The feeds cut for that conversation because, apparently we can't see the reactions to that. But if they're talking to white people, we can see the reactions. It's just more of this show protecting the wrong people, getting everything wrong on the production side. Pissed people off so much that Stop Protecting Kyle was the #1 trend on Twitter in the US. The #1 trend. Big Brother trending for all the wrong reasons per usual, but CBS never wants to make its change, so fuck them. But this is Michael and Brittany using racism as strategy too, trying to act like they're the heroes or the white saviors in this scenario. But if that's the case, why did it take Michael 3.5 weeks to bring this forward? Why did it take Michael being a target for other white players to bring this information forward? So no, Michael and Brittany also problematic in this whole situation. The whole situation is just gross. The season, it started bad and it's just forever spiraled out of control because this show cannot help themselves when it comes to profiting off of the racist gameplay on this show and never making the right changes that need to be made. They just never do it. And that's why when I get these dumb hicks in my comments saying things like, this is the way Big Brother has always been played. Well, the last 10 seasons, certainly. This is definitely one of the worst case scenarios of this happening in a Big Brother game because it's so blatant and transparent that production can't even hide it. A lot of things have gone way beyond game, and a lot of things over the past 10 seasons have gone way beyond game, and Big Brother has only ever shown it in the episodes during Big Brother 15. Every other season, they try and sweep it under the rug on the episodes and keep it from everybody. This is not game, so of course dumb hicks can say that from the comments because they're white, but it goes beyond game for players of color, and specifically black players who have had to watch this happening on the show for the past fucking decade. But that's the reason why players like Kyle feel comfortable using racism as gameplay, because for the past decade, it's worked for white players in the house. And for the past decade, production has tried to protect the white players that made this happen by not putting it in the edits. And furthermore, they made Kyle the golden boy of the season, kind of the main character of the season, and now look how it's turning out for them. Look at what's happening to Kyle on the feeds. But I don't even ever understand why they let this continue to happen for so long. And I don't understand why they casted people like Kyle and this terrible cast that they casted in the first place. Was it because last season it was the cookout and it appealed more to black fans, and that this season they wanted to appeal back to their racist fan base. That's probably the reason they expected. But then look, you can look at conservative Facebook, and they hate this cast and the season too. So just a major fail all around. Eventually, Michael and Brittany told Alyssa as well about what Kyle was doing, and they told Turner. They botched it with Turner because Brittany talks way too damn much per usual. But they did push, Michael did a good job of pushing that Kyle should go on the block because that's the kind of person they don't want in this game because of Kyle's energy, even though they were working with Kyle for several weeks until now knowing his energy. At first, Alyssa wasn't telling Kyle about the conversation she had with Michael and Brittany. She was just sad about it, but she eventually told Kyle about that conversation, and Kyle spiraled, and oh no, they're using the racism against him. It's funny because Kyle can use this racism in the game, but when the shit hits the fan, he wants to run and quit the game and not be held to the consequences because he is a bitch boy.
But now they're telling everybody this except for me, painting me as like a racist.
I asked them what their conversation was, but this morning in that thought room, and they wouldn't tell me.
It probably was that, of course, with Taylor and Monty. Like, they just got called in the DR for like hours on end. Like, I'm gonna leave the game. Like,
Don't freak out.
what do you mean? They're calling me a racist, saying I wanted to start a whole white thing.
No, that's not what they were saying directly.
Then what are they saying? That I didn't want to work with them because of their skin color.
No, I don't think so. All they said was that you just brought to their attention that that you wouldn't want to cook out thing to form or something like that, but they didn't say like you were like coming for them because of that.
Then what? They're bitching that. Like, how can they do that? Like, that's it for me. Like, Alyssa, I'm gonna leave the game.
Kyle is saying he wasn't racist when bringing up people's backgrounds, but this is the same Kyle that put Indy, the white Brazilian, just because she's not American, in that minority alliance that he was trying to build up in his mind of happening. And Monty rightfully pointed that out in conversations. Monty had a good conversation with Terrence, because Terrence now knows about it too. Basically, the whole house knows about it at this point. And the last time I was watching before recording this video, and this will probably be posted too close to the episode, unfortunately, but Kyle might quit. The feeds went out. Kyle doesn't want to face the music. I want to give Monty flowers lastly, because the Monty week 1 who started as a player getting information and throwing the accurate information under the bus when he threw Taylor under the bus, who was giving him accurate information, was such a bad player. But his growth as a player till now is huge. He had a great conversation with Turner about how the whole situation with Kyle and them kind of being the last two people from the pound if Kyle is indeed the target this week. Did a good job of convincing Turner why Kyle should be put up on the block this week. Was the last thing we saw on the feeds from the time I'm recording this. But as for now, that's been the newest gross mess in the Big Brother 24 house.
The diary room is temporarily unavailable.
Can I go to the one upstairs?
Announcement when you can return.
Can I go to the one upstairs?
The diary room is temporarily unavailable. An announcement when you can return.
I need to talk to you guys, like, immediately.